powered by Riverside FM.
Welcome to Thrive Talking, the Making Men Great Again podcast. Our new podcast dedicated to providing men with the content and community to thrive in each and every aspect of their lives and become great again. Thank you as always for tuning in and joining us on this journey in learning, development, discovery and growth. We're happy to have you with us. I'm your host Tommy, and I'm joined as always by my close friend and brother, the original monster of Maris Bridge, Sam. How you doing, brother?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Just cracking on. It's good to be back again. We're getting through these nicely, and it's good to keep chatting, innit? Keep giving the fans what they want.
That's it, brother. Episode 3.
I know what's going on.
Did you think we'd make it past episode 1?
Yes, I did. I was optimistic, but you know, I didn't know how it was going to go. But I think the main thing here is we're both enjoying doing it. We look forward to doing it, so it's giving us that drive to keep going and keep chatting, and people are listening. So that's what we're going with. We're listening to what the folk are saying. Exactly, and they are saying stuff.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, like you've just said, it's the fact that we're enjoying it. It's something that we look forward to, and it's an opportunity for us just to catch up as well, because we obviously don't live around the corner from each other anymore, and we're at that stage in life where there's other priorities, and you don't get as much time with your friends as you used to. So it's just good. It's good for us just to catch up each week and talk about things that we're passionate about.
Yeah, of course. Let's have it.
So Sam, it's episode 3. It's Fuel and Recovery Part 2. But before we dive into that, got to ask you, are you thriving?
I am, definitely. Much better than last week, anyway.
What's been happening? How are you thriving?
Just after a bit of illness last week, which threw me off. I'm currently training for a triathlon. So another triathlon, I did one a few weeks ago. So training is really intense as for, the physical, swimming, bike, running, and that's keeping me up there. It's keeping the endorphins flowing. It's keeping my diet, as we spoke about last week, on track, because the more I exercise, the better my diet stays.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, you know what it's like after you have a good training session. You're not going to go and eat a bag of sweets, are you? Yeah. Because what's the point?
So that's good. Good. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it's going well. And got to ask you as well. Are you? So you've been doing your training, yeah? Have you been saying your prayers?
A kind of prayer, yeah.
And have you been taking your vitamins?
Absolutely, brother. What you gotta do?
That's it. Brilliant, mate. So, quick recap on episode 2. Last week, obviously, we introduced one of the. It was the first episode introducing one of the 5 pillars, fuel and recovery, and we spoke about it was primarily focused on diet and nutrition, and we give a bit of a background and experience there and the way we're thinking about that, and what's the optimum sort of way to eat and fuel yourself as a human and as a man. And I've sort of been reflecting on that a little bit, and I think it's an episode that you could spend so much time and go into so much detail on. And when I listened back to the episode after you'd first sort of edited it and just after we'd uploaded it, I felt there was so much more that I wish that I'd spoken about. And I'm sure you feel the same way. And I thought, well, I wish I'd have spoken about that, or I wish I'd have given a little bit more detail on that. But it's such a complex subject to talk about, and we will revisit. And I just wanted to point this out to the listeners, really. I mean, this space, particularly sort of health and well-being and nutrition, it can be overwhelming at times. There's that much information. So it's impossible to cover everything, but we will be revisiting it. We will discuss it in more detail. If you've got any questions or any ideas or anything you want to share with us, then reach out, and Sam will tell you how you can do that later on in the episode. But how do you feel it went, Sam? The second episode?
I think it went as well as it can go, to be honest.
Yeah.
We didn't get too focused on specific food groups for the nutritional profile. We didn't want to go too far into that. Like you said on the last one, we just want to keep it simple that people can understand, the everyday man and woman, and I think that was good.
I think particularly for the first sort of look into these subjects, we said, didn't we? We just wanted to cover the fundamentals, the baseline of what you should be doing to make an improvement in your life, and then you can take it as far as you want. And and again, I think we should mention that we've had some really positive feedback, and thank you to everyone who has tuned in so far and offered feedback. Sam tells me that the millions in Mongolia and around the world are enjoying the podcast, and we're getting lots of reviews coming in on Spotify and the other platforms, which is great. Sam, is there anything in particular that you've heard back from the brethren, or the brotherhood of man, as we call them?
The brotherhood of man. This is what we're saying, is it? I love that. Yeah. Especially after episode 2 about the diet, it was obviously a lot more subject heavy than the first episode, which was just us basically introducing who we are, what we're doing.
Yeah.
So the main feedback was basically people are glad to hear that we're actually talking about subjects, and it kind of helps them understand a bit more about just reading the ingredients, like you said.
Yeah.
Read those damn ingredients. And we said a lot about eating whole foods, and I think that's sunk in with a lot of people. Or the people who spoke to me anyway, they are now checking ingredients, whereas they probably didn't before. That's the result, isn't it?
That's really encouraging, Sam. Like, I mean, we said, didn't we, the key takeaways of that episode, at that stage and at that level that we looked into fuel and diet and nutrition, was cut out the processed crap, cut out the garbage, prioritise natural whole foods, and read the ingredients when you're doing your shopping, and encourage your loved ones and your family and friends to do the same. They were the key takeaways, and it's really encouraging to hear that's resonating with people, and hopefully people have taken at least a nugget of valuable information away from that episode. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, for sure.
So moving on, Sam, we've said from day one that this podcast is about accountability and self-awareness, and keeping each other honest as well, and offering each other encouragement. So I just wanted to quickly touch on last week. We both spoke about some of the barriers that we're facing with fuel and recovery in our diets, and I was just keen to see if you've made any progress from last week. Have you found more consistency in your preparation for your meals? Are you finding that you're reaching for the late night comfort of an unhealthy snack, and that habitual eating that's sort of been a bit of a barrier to you thriving?
Yeah, I think like I said before, as soon as I got over the bit of illness and my training got back to being a consistent level, it just makes me focus more on what I'm eating again. Obviously, I'm massively into the eggs, so as we spoke about, and I do get excited about it. But I'm just a big believer in eggs. Eggs are the foods that we need, especially after a hard workout.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, a nice 4-egg scramble There's
nothing finer.
There's nothing finer with a load of butter. But yeah, that's where it's up to from last week. I've definitely been thinking about it more.
That's good.
What about you?
Yeah, no, exactly the same. It was good to sort of reflect and think about it consciously and put it out there to yourself and the listeners. Just be honest, and I have really tried to dial in the late night snacking, which was a problem for me. Not necessarily bad foods, but reaching for things that are going to affect sleep, and stuff that's going to spike the insulin before bedtime, and a lot of food that's not really going to satiate you and leave you feeling full and satisfied. So it then creates other habits of, just eating for the sake of it, really, because you're not fulfilled.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I've been really conscious about that, and I've been sort of a little bit more disciplined with my eating window, and I've been trying not to consume anything too close to bedtime, and I've been feeling better for it. So yeah, good. And
good.
Yeah, and to the brethren listening in, if you've changed anything from following last week's episode, then please let us know your experience. So Sam, we've recapped last week. We've made our introductions. What are we talking about this week? What's the subject matter?
So after last week, the fuel and recovery, we are carrying on with that theme there. We couldn't quite fit in the recovery. We focused a lot on the diet and we got carried away and spoke in detail. So this is part 2 of episode 2, which we're going to focus on recovery. Just to highlight this fuel and recovery is part of the five key components. What a word! 5 key components, or the 5 pillars that we think are going to make men great again. So this is part of it. Just to reiterate them pillars, what we said in the first episode. To be honest, we did say them in the first episode, and I don't think we've mentioned it again since. So just to run through them quickly there, Tommy. We've got number 1, which is connect. Connect is connecting with basically anyone. Your family, your friends, the general public, people at work. I mean, connect with your dog, your cat, whatever, as long as you're connecting.
On a deep and meaningful level.
Absolutely. Number 2, which is we're on now, is fuel and recovery. You can tell we're not doing this in the order that we've got them here, but it's all right. Don't worry about that. Fuel and recovery, we spoke about and we're going to speak about this week. Number 3, the third pillar of Thriving 5 is challenge. What's challenge? Challenge can be both physical and a mental challenge. So, physically challenging yourself, putting yourself in situations, what is going to push you out your comfort zone. And it doesn't have to be pushing that far. It can be little challenges, just if you're stuck in a place, getting out of bed, little things like that. That's challenge. Number 4, the fourth pillar is play. Play being self-explanatory. It can be exercise. It's having fun. Whether that be in sports, that be playing with your friends or family, which connects, links with connect. Anything.
Don't forget to ask your friends if they're playing out.
Exactly. Go knock on the door. You're playing out.
Joking aside, though, you sort of lose that when you become an adult.
And it's sad.
But it's an important thing to remember. It really is important. That's why we've included it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you make a good point there. Like just thought about going back to the childhood where you just go and knock on your mate's door. You come in playing out. We can't do that anymore, can we?
How much joy does it bring you?
Thinking about it.
The physical, mental benefits, the stress relief, something so simple.
Yeah, so anyway, sorry, moving on. That was the 4th pillar. The 5th and final one to thrive is contemplate. What is contemplate? Well, it's just as simple as it sounds. It's stopping, it's thinking, it's having a minute to just, think about what's going on in your life. And I'm going to include meditate in that, because meditate's a massive thing for me personally.
Yeah.
And so that's it. Yeah, that's the thriving 5, as we say. And we're gonna start talking about the recovery. So what, Tommy? What do we mean by recovery? Where are we going to start with this?
Well, it's an excellent question, Sam, and thank you for recapping on the 5 pillars of making men great again, and the thriving 5, as we call it. Something that hopefully we can reiterate each and every week, and each component of that, obviously, there's been a lot of thought between the two of us going into that, and they're all really complex subjects, and there's a lot to them, which is why we've decided to start the podcast off by introducing each one and doing sort of a deep dive into each component of that. And Sam, on recovery, obviously, we spoke about diet last week, and that also feeds into recovery, because by getting the right nutrition and giving your body the right fuel, that'll also affect and influence your recovery and the quality of your recovery. But I thought today we could be a little bit more specific and think about the different essential sources of recovery. So your different routines, regimes, and rituals that can really set you on the path to greatness and help you thrive. Whether that's just getting up and feeling good in the morning and ready to attack the day, whether it's recovering from an heavy session in the gym, whatever that might be. And you spoke about suffering from a bout of illness last week, and I was exactly the same by coincidence. And we talk about bounce back ability. How do you respond, and how do you recover from just the events that happen in life, like illness. So yeah, I think that's what we're gonna focus on today. And I'm really looking forward to it. What about you, Sam? What's recovery to you, and what are your thoughts on the subject matter?
When I think about recovery in its simplest terms, I do. My mind automatically goes to, how am I going to recover after some form of training, some form of workout, whatever it may be? Just
so you're thinking of like specifically your muscles,
muscle recovery.
Yeah.
That's just where my mind goes straight away, just through being in sport for a long period of my life. But now, when I think more about it, it is about also recovering the mind, getting that right as well, because we know how difficult it is for a lot of people out there. They're struggling to, recover from mental illnesses, and that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to offer an insight into that. So, yeah,
it's everything, isn't it? Like say, it is about recovering from your training and your workouts and the demands that you place on your body physically, but it's also just life events. It might be a bout of illness. It might be losing a loved one. It might be suffering, the breakdown of a relationship, or something that's not quite gone to plan at work or in business. It's just how you recover from, how you set yourself up to recover from anything and everything that could happen in life. But the first point that I wanted to talk about, Simon, I think it's numero uno when it comes to recovery, be it physical, mental, is sleep, and the importance of that. So much so that when we first got together and spoke about the Thriving Five and sort of the pillars that we wanted to introduce and build our whole foundation on how to become great again as men. We very nearly put sleeping on its own, because it is such an important aspect of life. And if you're not sleeping well, then it's highly unlikely that you're thriving, and you'll start to suffer the consequences. In pretty much everything in your life, you find that if you're not sleeping well and you're not getting adequate sleep and quality sleep, that it influences your mood, it affects your motivation levels. Your day gets off to a poor start. You feel disengaged, brain fog. It affects your performance physically in the gym. It just has a massive influence on our lives. And I was doing a little bit of a deep dive into this, and I thought it was important to sort of highlight the significance. And the statistics were really interesting that I found. So apparently in the UK, Sam, 37% of adults suffer from insomnia.
Wow.
Roughly 2.5 million people have been diagnosed with sleep apnea, or estimated to suffer with sleep apnea, which is affecting the quality of the sleep. And apparently over 75%, which doesn't come as a surprise to me now that I've learned and become more conscious of this, 75% of adults do not get the recommended amount of sleep per night, which I thought was really it was fascinating, and it really sort of highlighted the problem and why so many people are getting it wrong.
It's amazing, isn't it? How sleep is really. We can't stress how important it is, can we? Really? I mean, you know what it's like. Everyone listening now, if you're tired, your motivation to do anything is just it's gone. It's gone as it. And it affects so much as well. And obviously, we're on about recovery here. You need that sleep to your body to start that healing process from whatever you've done that day. That's where it starts. You take away that sleep, and you can forget it. And no amount of coffee in the morning is gonna recover that sleep. It's so important, isn't it?
Nothing can replace or replicate sleep.
Literally nothing.
There's no pill, there's no magic button or potion. There's no quick fix. You've got to get that quality sleep.
Yeah. So what do you think? Why do you think people are getting it wrong then? What's going on? What are they doing?
I think there's a few things that really stick out in my mind, and I've fallen foul of these myself over the years, and it's only recently that I've sort of been more conscious about my sleep and realised the significance of it. But one is, I think people take it for granted. People take sleep for granted. They don't actually understand the significance of it and the importance of it, and they should do, but they don't see the correlation that it has.
Yeah, I've heard people say, "Oh, I'll sleep when I'm dead." I mean,
yeah,
that's the most stupid comment you can ever make, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it really is. And like I said, people don't realise the influence that it has on their everyday life. And the real big thing for me, and it's a massive misconception, and I wouldn't like to put a figure on it, Sam, but I think I'd imagine the statistics are frightening. There's a huge misconception with sleep in regards to time and the length of time that you're asleep. So quantity, we'll call it quantity. Quantity and quality of sleep are two entirely separate things, and I've learnt this myself the hard way. I remember a time where I wasn't doing well mentally. I was unhappy, I wasn't motivated, and I didn't have any sort of desire to do anything other than lie around in bed and sleep. And despite getting 12 hours of sleep some nights and longer on other occasions, I still felt tired and I felt miserable. And Whereas some people tend to think that, oh, if I get my 8 hours or if I get 10 hours, then I'm good. But that's completely wrong. Someone could, in theory, someone who's got good sleep hygiene and they're conscious about sleep and they have a ritual, and they have good habits, they will do far much better off 4 hours of quality sleep than someone else who's gone to bed at 12, who's gone to bed at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night after being sat in front of the telly watching Netflix, consuming sugary processed foods right before bed, drinking alcohol or energy drinks, fizzy pops. The person who's more conscious about it, more what's the word, more particular about the sleep, and they have that routine and that ritual that they follow, they will be doing much better than the person who's getting 12 hours sleep but doing it all wrong. And I think that, I can't stress enough how important it is to realise that it's not about quantity with sleep, it's about quality.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can just give an example straight off the bat there. We've got these modern day smartwatches now, and I'm someone who will buy the latest smartwatch, and I'm using a Garmin, and it's got so much technology in it. It's got a sleep coach in the watch, and sometimes I find that it says I've slept for 10 hours, for example, but I feel like absolutely terrible because them 10 hours have been 10 hours of restlessness.
Yeah.
And in yourself, a watch doesn't need to tell you that you're tired, whether you've had 10 hours or not.
Yeah.
But, some days I can have 6 hours and feel absolutely amazing because, like you said, it's the quality. It is the quality, not quantity. It's that REM sleep in it, what we need most of all.
It is. It's the rapid eye movement. Particularly, I spoke about the statistics around sleep apnea. That is people who aren't getting any rapid eye movement at all. Pretty much, they're not falling into a deep sleep because of the breathing, purely and simply. But there's so many things that impact on your sleep. One of the major reasons that people are suffering with the sleep and they're not getting it right is down to the melatonin production. And one of the huge barriers to that, and there has been a little bit of traction online, and there's been some real good people sort of shining a light on this recently. But it's blue light. What in the modern world, we all have smartphones. Sam, you've mentioned having a smartwatch. We all have nice televisions and laptops, and it's become the norm now to, you get home from work, you do what you've got to do, and I'd wager 99% of the population settle down in front of the telly for the evening, or the scrolling on the phones, and that continues into the bedroom now as well. There's no separation. A lot of people have televisions in the bedrooms. Even those that don't, I guarantee that they'll get in bed at night and they'll scroll social media or go onto YouTube and watch videos right before bedtime, just before their head hits the pillow. And that is having a massive influence on your melatonin production. You're putting that blue light through your eye, and your eye is thinking that it's sensing daylight. It's thinking that it's not time to go to sleep. It's not dark. I'm getting all this light. And your eyes are so clever, but we're tricking them into thinking that it's not time to sleep. So our body isn't secreting the hormones that are needed to optimize sleep and help us get into a deep, restful sleep. And then there's sort of a follow-on effect from that as well. We're going to bed and there's so much clutter in our minds our minds are still buzzing from what we've been scrolling on our phones, all the stresses of the day, because we're not decompressing, we're not clearing our minds and getting ready for a good night's sleep. So that's the main barrier for me, and that's why so many people are getting it wrong, Sam.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I can't sit here and lie and say I'm perfect, because I, like everyone else, I've got a big flat screen TV in my bedroom. I've got my phone. I've got an iPad. Like I do live on my own, so I don't have anyone at the side of me in bed to be like, turn that off. I can do exactly what I want.
Yeah.
And I do. I am there. I get in bed with every intention of reading a book, an actual book, and then I pick my phone up, and then that's me gone then for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, flipping out, why have I just done that? And it's just the addiction to the phone, innit? That's the problem.
It is, and I think anyone from our generation, particularly, and obviously the younger generation, is we've sort of been brought up with that. It's become habitual. We are all addicted, purely and simply. I have an awareness that it's a problem, but I still lapse from time to time. I still find myself scrolling before bed. But yeah, it is a major problem, and I feel that we've if we're going to do recovery any justice, we've got to highlight this and make people aware, because a lot of people just aren't aware, because they've not come across people speaking about this before. They've not seen the correlation between sleep and their health and the performance. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's massive. It's massive.
The word that stood out for me there is awareness. We are aware of what we're doing, but yet we're still doing it, and that's what we need to change. Both of us as well. We're on here saying what you should do, and we both need to do exactly what we're saying, don't we? But it's difficult. It's like any addiction, it's getting worse as they, phone. They're bringing out all these apps, and you think, oh, I need to look at this. You can do your shopping on an app. You can ring your friend in Australia. You know what I mean? It's everything's there on the phone.
Everything's at your fingertips today, isn't it?
But we don't want to go too far into that. We're on about sleep.
No, we don't. We don't. But I do want to mention, Sam. We went watching Roger Daltrey together.
Yes, we did.
Recently, and for anyone who doesn't know Roger Daltrey, go and listen to The Who, one of the greatest rock bands of all time. But we're not a podcast about music. But Roger Daltrey made an excellent point when he was talking between his songs. He spoke about his grandkids being on the phones and addicted to phones, and obviously this is an audio podcast, so you can't see, but he said that life is up in front of you. It's not down on that little screen that you've got held in your hand, and that really resonated with both Sam and myself. But yeah, that's sleep, Sam. What are your thoughts on sleep? Is there anything that you're thinking is a barrier or a reason why people are getting it so drastically wrong?
Just basically what we've said already. I think the phone and the technology, the blue light, is the biggest barrier for a lot of people. Everyone's got a phone. You can't deny that. And I think, yeah, it's. I think other problems is, the diet. We can go back to diet. What are you giving yourself before you go into sleep? Are you sat there with a bar of dairy milk? Are you having 3 cans of Stella before you go to sleep? Now, some people would argue that a glass of wine will send you to sleep. The alcohol will send you to sleep, and maybe it does. But then it could have the opposite effect for some people. It'll give you that buzz. I think that's part of the problem as well.
I've got to be honest, Sam. The whole point of this podcast is about honesty and having a self-awareness. And I will admit, whilst I'm well aware of what I should be doing and, what I believe to be the optimum way to fuel my body and to recover, there are certain things in life that I just enjoy, and I'm happy to accommodate them, even though I know they're not the best for me. And I do occasionally enjoy a glass of wine or a drop of whiskey. But what I will say is, just on the point that you've just made, there is a noticeable difference in the quality of sleep after the consumption of alcohol. Yeah, you might feel like it helps you get off, but it's a very dangerous habit to get into and to rely on. And I don't drink often. I drink for pleasure. I don't drink to become intoxicated. But I do notice a difference in the quality of my sleep after I have consumed alcohol. And especially the more alcohol you consume, the worse your quality of sleep will be. And whilst you might have that 7, 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep, I guarantee that you'll not wake up feeling refreshed and raring to go. And it's no coincidence.
True. So what do you reckon? Keeping it quite simple, what do you reckon we can do to improve our sleep as a whole? Just little changes that we can tell folk.
Well, I can offer some sort of anecdotal insights to what's worked for me. Like I said, since I first became aware of the importance of sleep, as stupid as that sounds, like we all subconsciously know how important it is, but sometimes we forget and we don't see the correlation. But it's simple, really. It's just forming better habits. One thing straight away that I can think of is turn off the television, put down the phone, give yourself, and take baby steps. It's difficult. We are addicted to these things. Take baby steps and slowly increase. But put the phone down, turn the television off. That might be half an hour before you go to bed.
Yeah. It's essentially winding down, innit? That's what you need to do.
Exactly. Wind down. Don't fill your mind full of garbage before bed. Stop the blue light. The blue light and the flickering that our phones and television screens give off is having a major impact on your hormones. So cut that off. Even if it to begin with, you do it 15 minutes before you go to bed. And make your bedroom, make your bed a safe space dedicated to sleep and recovery. Leave everything else for another room. Don't associate, because by doing that, you no longer associate your bedroom with all those sort of things, and it'll help you break the habit. And once you've done that, and you've built a little bit of consistency, and you've formed that new habit, just increase it a little bit. Make it an hour before you go to bed that you put the phone down, you put the television, you turn the television off, and just slowly increase it till you find that nice balance. And as we said last week, Sam, if something's working for you, if you're thriving, then stick with it. But that'd be my number one recommendation. To take it into a little bit more detail, but I'm not gonna spend too much time on this, Sam, because we've got a lot to discuss. But you've mentioned reading. I know you like myself. You're an avid reader. And I find that that's just a fantastic form of like escapism, to decompress at the end of the day, to take your mind off the all the things that have been going on, buzzing around your head, and just to sort of declutter your mind and take yourself away to a nice place before you go to sleep. That's number 2. Number 3 is make sure that your bedroom is dark and cool. Get it as dark as possible, so you're having you're giving that melatonin as much encouragement as it needs to come out and aid you in that deep restful sleep. and a nice cool room as well really helps with that as well. Two other things that have worked really well for me previously, Sam, is a dehumidifier, just to keep your breathing is such an important part of sleep. So ensuring that you breathe in well, and you're getting nice clean air that's not got any pollutants in it. And aromatherapy is another good one as well. Using essential oils, not stuff that's filled with chemicals. Make sure it's 100% essential oils that are proven to help you relax and find a nice state of mind that will really aid you fall into that deep state of relaxation before you go to sleep. So they're the key things for me, Sam. And I should also mention that not eating too close to bedtime as well, which is something that I'm a real bugger for, because I enjoy late night snacks. I always have.
We've all been there, haven't we?
What about you, Sam? Is there anything that you just quick fire you feel like what really works for you, or that you want to share with the listeners?
Yeah, I mean, I can only concur with what you said there. My own personal experience for getting sleep is, like you said, firstly, putting all the devices down. If you can, take your mobile phone and put it in another room. Put it on aeroplane mode. You know how to do that. Just get anything electrical out your bedroom. That's one of the things Liver King did.
You're removing the temptation as well, aren't you? By
what works for me, I always sleep in a pitch black room. I've got the blackout blinds and a blackout curtain over the top of that, so it's literally pitch black. Luckily for me, I live in a place that's very quiet. My neighbourhood's quiet, so try and eliminate any sounds. And I know there is some people who have to sleep with white noise, for example.
Myself included.
We know that. If that's what you need to do, you do that. But it doesn't work for me. One other thing I will say is, if you can keep the time you go to sleep quite regular, I mean consistent. Like you would if you with a child. I've got a young son. I make sure he goes to bed the same time all the time, and it's literally, he knows exactly what time he's going to bed, and I don't even have to tell him anymore. He'll just know now. And we're not trying to teach you to suck eggs, but if you can keep that consistent, your body will know that, right, it's time for bed now, and it'll more than likely drift off a lot more easy. And that's what's worked for me. One other thing I will say is meditation, and we might get onto that anyway with recovery, but 5-10 minutes just before you go to bed, if you can meditate, if you have the ability to clear your mind, do it. There's loads of apps that will guide you through a sleeping meditation, and you will feel better just by listening to someone's voice on the guided meditation, even with the music in the background, and it really, really does work. I'd encourage people to try it.
I hear what you're saying, Sam, and I've used those. Meditation's a great point, and practicing different breathing exercises as well, just to relax your mind. And it's quite funny though, isn't it? Because we're in danger of being hypocritical here, because I've used sleep stories as well and guided stuff. But if you are doing that, listeners, if you don't know how to do it, you can find it online quite easily. There's tutorials on YouTube, but make sure that you've got your phone set so that there's as little blue light coming off it as possible. You can use like red filters that really change the contrast on your phone and make that impact from the blue light as minimal as possible, if that is something that you rely on and something that you need. And just make sure that you avoid other distractions when you're listening to your sleep story. Don't be tempted to pick it back up and start scrolling through social media. But no, great point, Sam.
Just
Great
a last
points.
thing on this, mate. I'll tell the listeners and you exactly what I do. This is most evenings as well. I use an app called Insight Timer, and it's a 15-minute guided sleep meditation. Now, what I do, I'll set that off on my phone at the side of me. I know it sounds hypocritical. I said get your phone out of the room, but just for this purpose only, I'll set the guided meditation going at the side of me. My phone will already be in sleep mode, so that's just going to run, and I'm just going to hear that noise at the side of me very quietly in my ear while the room's pitch black. As soon as that finishes, I'm already practically asleep, and the phone's just going to be in sleep mode anyway. And if anyone wants to do that, I can only encourage you to try it once and see how you get on.
Are we sponsored by Insight, Sam, or is it? Are we unaffiliated?
No,
is
we're
that
not. Should be.
Not yet. Anyway, no, that's good, Sam. And I think we've covered a lot of important stuff on sleep there, and hopefully we've given the brethren, at least one key takeaway there that can improve their sleep. But whilst we're on that, Sam, we both spoke about barriers. It's a theme of the podcast. We're gonna ask each other how we're going to make improvements on whatever the subject matter is that we're talking about. We did it last week with fuel. So what are you going to do going forward? Following this episode, this conversation that we're having, what are you going to do differently going forwards to improve your recovery and in particular your sleep?
Particularly, I can't say words like that, mate. Just focusing on sleep as we have done. I'm going to do something drastic because I've got a big TV in my room, and I've been thinking to myself, and
smash it up.
Maybe not smash it up. Maybe just take it out of the room. No, I will. I've been thinking about it for ages, I think, and that needs to leave. That needs to go because the temptation's there every night to put it on when I get in bed.
And it's a really easy, quick little victory for you, isn't it?
It's a small win. It's a small win, but as well as that, I am going to definitely get back into the reading, and we're talking reading actual books here. We're not getting the Kindles out, the Amazon Fire, whatever they're called. I don't know. Yeah, it's Kindle in it. Don't get that out. As much as it acts like a book, it's not a book. It's still an electronic device. At the end of the day, I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm just going to do what you said before. At least 15 minutes before bed, my phone is going bye-bye, unless I'm doing that meditation, which is 15 minutes long anyway, so I won't be looking at my phone. Yeah. So what about you, mate?
Good. Yeah, no, I think for me, it's just it just sort of goes back to discipline and falling back into or creating the good habits again. So the main one for me is going to be the phone. It's going to be come up to bed at a reasonable time, probably half an hour to an hour before I expect to go to sleep. So the television's off at that point. The phone's put down, and then I can really start to relax and decompress and read a book. I love reading, and I think it's probably a good subject just for a future episode alone, just to talk about reading and the benefits of that. But yeah, that's going to be the main thing for me. And again, like last time, just try and minimise the food intake before bed. I like to have a cut-off point of about 2 hours before I go to sleep. That I'm last sort of consuming any type of food or calories. That tends to work really well for me, so I just want to be more consistent with that.
Good.
As always, folks, me and Sam are going to hold each other accountable. We're going to ask each other how we're progressing with the things that we've committed to each week. And we encourage you to join in, get in touch with us, let us know what you've taken from each episode, Let us know if you're making any changes off the back of what you've heard. And let's all hold each other accountable. Let's offer each other encouragement, and let's really drive forward together on this journey of self-improvement and help each other thrive and help men become great again. That's what this podcast's all about, after all.
Yes, indeed.
So moving on, Sam. Again, we're in danger of for going on for hours and hours here, because it's such a complex subject with so much to cover. In even after we've covered everything that we've got to talk about tonight during this episode, we'll still have barely scratched the surface. But one thing that I really wanted to speak to you about and ask a little bit about your experience and your journey to date, including the benefits and how you advise people to get started and implement this into their routines and habits, is cold water therapy.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, talk to us about that, brother.
Now, cold water for me is other than sleep, it is the ultimate way, I think, to recover. This is something I've discovered. We're going back about 4 years now. And I'll be honest, it did start from seeing Wim Hof dipping into all manner of water, and I thought, blimey, what a good idea. And for me, for the past 3 years, I'll say, I have literally had a cold shower every day. Through all the seasons, through winter, I've had a cold water shower every day. And I can't stress to you and everyone out there how incredible I feel after a cold water shower. It's mind-blowing. Now, a lot of people listening are going to be like, why would you want to go and subject yourself to cold water in winter, or at all for that matter? We're so used to getting into a warm shower because it's available. But I've got to say, number one, the first thing I do in the morning, I get in that cold shower. Now, I don't necessarily want to, because who wants to get up and get in the cold? But I force myself in there, and my God, I get out and I think I could run through a brick wall at this point, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
But we're linking it to recovery, and why is it so good for recovery? Well, I've sort of, there's a load of research out there, and there'll be videos on YouTube for days about why it's so good, why, and it's nothing new. People have been having cold baths forever to recover from mainly athletes from muscle soreness and getting rid of that inflammation, and that is great. But the way I see it, I'm getting in that cold water, and what's happening is, obviously, when your body goes into cold water shock, all your blood is going to immediately rush to your vital organs to protect the insides, which is right, and it does protect your vital organs. But as soon as you get out that cold water, it's all going to flush out. It's all going to flush out to your skin, and
your extremities.
That was the word I'm thinking of, extremities. And that for me is where I'm feeling the benefit. All that blood rushing out to extremities, specifically skin, it makes your skin feel incredible. And I'm saying this now to everyone. I'd just encourage you to go and try it and let me know how you feel. As soon as I get that water, I'm like, wow, I feel like I've just been bathed in moisturizer, and I've not. I've literally just got into water, and that is how powerful it is. Everyone who meets me outside of the podcast, in work, in life, friends, family, they all know that I'll preach cold water to them until I'm blue in the face, because I just think it's absolutely brilliant. And since I've combined this cold water with a whole food diet the best I can, I've never been sick. I've not once been sick in years, other than 2020 when it was COVID, and couldn't avoid that. So, but other than that, I'm just so passionate about it, and I just want people to try. And if they don't like it, fair enough. But please, at least try the cold water. That's what I can say.
So, if you had to sort of condense that into sort of the two key takeaways from cold water therapy, in terms of benefits for you, what would that be? Would improved skin health? What else? Mental
Definitely.
benefits.
As far as physical benefits, we're definitely talking skin health, and you're going to find this mind blowing and weird, but hair health as well. I know we mentioned about the diet, how you feel like your hair's a lot fuller and thicker. There's just something about the cold water. Like I said, it promotes that blood rushing to all the extremities, to your hair. Straight away. It seems daft, but I almost sometimes vision all this blood rushing to my head and pushing all these hair follicles out, almost regrowing my hair. But yeah, skin health definitely. Mentally, you're getting in that cold water. You're having a little internal mental battle with yourself. You don't really want to be there, but it's going to be good, and you're thinking about your breathing when you're in the cold water. So that's getting you through it. But as well is the obvious one for the cold water. I say obvious, it's obvious to me. It's reducing that muscle soreness, reducing that inflammation after a hard workout. Some people would argue that they want to get in that nice warm bath with the salts, the Epsom salts, all that stuff. And yeah, that will relax your muscles, which is great. But I'm just a big believer in the ice baths, the cold water. And if you combine that with a hot shower or a sauna, which we will get onto, I'm sure. Yeah, that's my little take on it. What's your thoughts? I know you're into it slightly as well.
I'm very much into it, Sam, as you know. Like yourself, for me, it started through a passion for wild swimming, which I first started 6 years ago now, with another friend of the podcast. I'll not name names just in case for privacy and confidentiality. But yeah, I first got into that with another friend of the podcast 6 years ago, and it was something that we did routinely together. As friends, it was just how we'd spend any time that we had together. It was an hobby, something that we was passionate about. But that just that first stemmed from just the sense of adventure and enjoying swimming and being outdoors. But then off the back of that, I started to realise the health benefits that are associated with cold water therapy and swimming as well. And like you just notice that feeling when you get out of cold water. You feel alive. You feel revitalised. You feel like all your senses have just awakened. Everything's brighter. Everything's better. You just feel good. So that's, the impact it has on your mood and your mental health is monumental. But going back to recovery, which is what we're talking about today, it's exactly what you said, Sam. The reduced muscle soreness and the improved circulation, that you can actually feel it. You can feel the blood surging through your body, and obviously with improved circulation, you're getting that oxygen and you're getting the nutrients to each and every part of your body, all the muscles, your skin, everything that's such an important part of the recovery and healing process. So yeah, I mean that's cold water therapy for me. And just while we're on the subject, you mentioned that people have been doing it for years and years and years, and sort of the availability and convenience of hot showers and the fact that it's comfortable has made a lot of people forget about cold water and how good it is for you and the benefit of it. But I don't know if you've come across this, Sam. If not, then remind me to lend you this book because it's a fantastic read. There's a book called Waterlog by a fantastic man who's passed away now, but he's called Roger Deakin. He's a journalist from the UK, and he was a huge advocate for wild swimming before it became popular, before technology and social media ran rampant with it. And Roger Deakin set out on an adventure across the British Isles, wild swimming, in some of the most amazing and remote locations. And it's just a fantastic book if you're into adventure and wild swimming in particular. And it's so well written. But in that book, he talks about, going back hundreds of years. There was, I can't remember exactly where it is, forgive me, but there was a place where people with different ailments and diseases used to go to as a retreat. And the whole sort of treatment plan that they were medicating the patients with was cold water therapy. It was literally lying in a cold bath for as long as possible and doing that multiple times a day. And the anecdotal evidence is there. It's documented the profound effect that it had on people, and in recovering from various illnesses and ailments. And I thought that was absolutely fascinating. And it just reminded me when you were speaking about cold water and the fact that people have been making use of it for hundreds of, not thousands of years.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really stress it enough about how incredible it is. When I just mention it to the, Joe Public and various people, they're like, "Are you mad?" And we're all a bit mad, but just what I've said before, like you reiterated it there, Tommy. It's almost like you can feel your blood circulating through your body. It's like you get this rush of blood, and you're like, "Whoa!" It's like a superpower, like you're gonna turn into the Hulk kind of thing. I know that's being silly, but it really does. It helps so much, and I just want everyone to, if you're listening to this tomorrow morning, get up, get in a cold shower, and tell me how you feel. And if you feel like crap, then, well, you're doing it wrong. But give it a try, please.
It's there's a common thread here, Sam, and it's what we said last week. Don't let convenience be the enemy of good. Don't let the fact that you want to be comfortable and nice and warm and cozy get in the way of you thriving and unlocking your potential. Get in a cold shower, make yourself uncomfortable. You'll feel the physical benefits and you'll see the mental benefits as well.
Yeah.
And it'll improve your resilience and your mental strength.
Yeah, definitely.
So, final thing on cold water, Sam, because I know we could speak all day about it. I'd just like you, as sort of the chief advocate for cold water. I know how passionate you are about it. If you could just tell the listeners, tell the brethren who are tuning in from all over the globe, for those who might be unfamiliar with it or it's not something they've experienced or experimented with before, can you recommend how they can sort of get into it and give it a try and just ease themselves in?
Yeah.
What would you recommend?
Definitely. For those who don't want to just get up and throw yourself straight in a cold shower, although that would be the ideal, if you can do it, if you feel brave enough to do it, do it. Now, the easiest way to ease yourself in is have your normal shower, go about, wash yourself. 30 seconds at the end, crank that shower completely cold. Give yourself 30 seconds. If you can't do 30, do 20. Can't do 20, do 10. And just, if you can build that up every day, 10, 20, 30, get to a minute, you will eventually, you'll feel so much better, and you'll the effects that you have after that little 10 seconds, 20 seconds, you'll want that more. You'll want to go longer. And once you can get your breath under control, because when that water hits you, you're gonna have that little shock. But once you get through it, you take 4 breaths in, have a pause, 4 breaths out, nice and easy. Just do it that way, and I promise you, you will thrive, and that is as simple as I can put it.
Wonderful.
Sorted.
Wonderful, Sam.
Right, we better move on, haven't we?
We had.
Next thing I reckon we talk about is our little favourite other thing, grounding. So Tommy,
Yeah.
what's grounding? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so grounding, wow, another amazing thing that's had a profound impact on my life recently, especially. So grounding, it's also known as earthing to some people. It's literally where you are connecting your body, your birth skin, basically with the earth, in one way, shape, or form. That might be getting out onto some grass or a lawn. It might be cold water swimming actually falls into grounding. If you're in a river or if you're in the sea, then that is a form of grounding. It might be as simple as taking your shoes and socks off when you're at the beach and just having a walk. But it's just connecting with earth, getting your feet or any part of your body grounded into the earth, planted in. It's as simple as that. I should stipulate that, this is not political. Me and Sam are not tree huggers in any way, shape, or form. But when you think of grounding, there is actually something to be said for tree hugging, because it has such a profound impact on you and on your recovery, and on your general mood. But yeah, that's grounding basically, and I mean, obviously, it's just common sense that it's good to connect with nature, to touch, the natural world, God's creation. It's just really good to connect with that as humans. We should be, but with technology and the way the human race has come on and new inventions and stuff, we've sort of lost that. We're stuck indoors, behind four walls in front of computer screens. We're not outside as much as we used to be. We all wear shoes now. We seldom get in touch with nature as often as we should do. And there's a reason why you feel great on holiday when you get on the beach and you get your bare feet in the sand. There's a reason for it. It's because it's natural. It's because what you're meant to do. You're meant to be in contact with nature. And to take it a step further, the scientific benefits is we all carry a positive charge, Sam, which is what results in inflammation in our bodies, muscle soreness, aches and pains. It can contribute to different autoimmune disorders and illnesses, but we all carry a bit of a positive charge around with us. The earth carries a slightly negative charge. So when you connect your bare skin, your body, with no barrier to earth, when you practice grounding, it's balancing that charge in your body. It's reducing the positive charge, which will in turn reduce inflammation. Like cold water therapy, it'll improve your circulation. It'll promote healing and recovery. And it's just a fantastic thing to do. And likewise with cold water, if you haven't tried it, I'd highly recommend that you just get out, start off small, 5 minutes a day if that's all you've got time for. Get your bare feet on the grass, if you've got a garden, and you'll reap the benefits. You really will. I can't speak highly enough about it. Sam, tell us about your experience with grounding and what you've found so far, your personal experience.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I know you're a lot more passionate about this than I am, which is brilliant. I find it's not something I practice as much as I should, but when I really do give it a try, I just feel I do feel a lot better. And I know, just reading about it before we did this, it's like it mentions about being electronically connected to the earth, doesn't it, via yourself?
Yeah.
And when you think about that, you
Yeah.
think, what's going on there? How can you be electronically connected? But it's to do with the electrons in the earth and stuff like that. But anyway, I'll just give an example today. It's been a nice day. It's like 27 degrees over here in the northwest of England, and I was just
Wow.
sat outside, bare feet on the grass, sun shining, and I felt good. I didn't have my phone on me or anything like that, and I was just thinking about my feet. It sounds daft, but I was thinking about my feet. I was thinking about where they were, and what was happening, and it might be just a little mental boost for myself. It might be something like that, but I did feel, a little bit of a connection to the ground. And
Yeah.
like you, I do a lot of, currently I'm doing a lot of open water swimming for training. And like you said, that's a
Yeah. Which is,
connection straight away. You can't get any more
yeah.
connected. Um,
I think you've just spoke about sitting out, Sam, and it's, I've just had a bit of a light bulb moment in my head, and it's beautiful, really. And I think it highlights how all these pillars that we've been talking about, the Thrive and Five, the key components to achieving greatness, they all link in with each other. You've just spoke about getting connected in the garden and thinking about it, no distractions. I'd argue that you was contemplating there,
Yeah.
you was thinking, you was having quiet time, you was thinking deeply about things, you was seeing the connection and feeling the benefits. Grounding, we're covering it under recovery here because it does form part of fuel and recovery, but it also comes under connect as well, because we're not only talking about connecting with other people in relationships and having conversations. We're talking about a deep and meaningful connection to earth and your natural surroundings as well. So yeah, I think it's absolutely it's marvelous how everything links in, and when you sort of realise that, it's sort of like everything just makes sense.
Definitely the cold water and grounding, you can link them two together quite easily.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not talking about getting in your shower. We're talking cold water dipping in a lake or a river, wherever you want to do it. Really, that's the ultimate combination. Almost like a little biohack that you can do wherever you can. Really.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll keep it brief on grounding, Sam. But I'll just recap the benefits of grounding is it reduces inflammation, improves circulation. It links into sleep, which has obviously been the main focus of this episode. It's recovery numero uno is sleep. It's so important. But by reducing inflammation, by improving circulation, that will have a real positive impact on your sleep. And just you can look at this online if you want to, or if you've got a multimeter in your toolbox at home, then you can go and try this. If you plug your multimeter into the earth, you will actually see that it has a slightly negative charge. I kid you not, it will blow your mind. And then, that should be evidence enough that what we're telling you is real, it's true, and it will have a profound positive impact on your lives. Finally, I'll just say, like Sam said with cold water therapy, start small, see how you feel, take it from there, get outside for 15-20 minutes a day, get connected, take your kids to the beach or, whatever the case may be, go for a walk, take your shoes and socks off, get out for a cold water swim with your friends, in the sea, in rivers, in bodies of water. That's also grounding. And let us know how you feel. If you've not tried it before, give it a go. Let us know.
Yeah, please do. Please. We're not just saying these things for the sake of it. It's what we've done, tried and tested. So just give it a go.
Brilliant, Sam. Now, there's one final thing that I hadn't actually, when we sort of discussed the agenda for today's episode, and we spoke about what we wanted to cover and what we wanted to focus on. It dawned on me just before the episode that we was missing something that's an essential component of recovery, certainly for me. And it's something that I've actually been doing today, which is what prompted me to think about it, Sam, and that's fasting.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
And I thought that it would be a massive injustice if we did an episode and an introduction to recovery and what that entails, and spoke about the routines, rituals, and regimes that you can do to help you in your recovery without touching on fasting, Sam. So, what do you think? Is it worthwhile just having 5 minutes on fasting?
I think so. Yeah, it's one of them. Don't go too deep into it, because there's real science behind fasting, isn't there? Like with what it's going to do.
Certainly
but
is.
I think it's just a quick, brief discussion on what you've done and how you think it's worked for you.
Yeah, noted. And like a lot of, well, pretty much everything that we're talking about on this episode, you could have a full 5-hour episode talking specifically just about this one thing, and we still won't barely scratch the surface. There's so much to cover, but we don't want to overwhelm people. We don't want to overcomplicate things. We want to keep it simple and digestible, and we want you to have, a few things that you can take away from each episode and implement in your own lives to help you on that path. So fasting, Sam, in terms of recovery, I just wanted to mention the benefits that I've found with fasting, and that is the sort of autophagy is the key word, really. And for those that don't know what autophagy is, look this up yourselves, do your own research. Like anything else, me and Sam, we're not scientists, we're not doctors, we're just two ordinary blokes who are really passionate about this stuff. But we'll tell you, and we'll encourage you, and we'll share our own experiences. But go out there and do your own research, and come to your own conclusions. But autophagy is basically when your body, it's a natural process that your body is supposed to do. I don't think many people are experiencing autophagy in the modern world, again, because of convenience and accessibility. But it's basically a natural process when your body starts recycling dead cells, and it becomes carnivorous, and it cannibalizes these dead cells. So dead cells are one of the primary causes for aging, for cancer, for a whole host of autoimmune disorders and diseases that humans suffer with. But the main ones being aging. It's the reason that we age as humans, that we don't live forever and stay young, is because we have dead cells. Cells die, they have a lifespan. And these cells stay in the body, and they can become free radicals, they can become cancerous, and they bounce around and they cause a lot of problems. Autophagy is where the body starts to cannibalize these cells and consume them as a source of energy. And that can only really be achieved through fasting, because in the modern day, we all eat, we all have access to food. We're told that we should eat multiple meals a day. We should eat every couple of hours. We're told that we should snack in between meals, X, Y, and Z. We've got all this different information coming in. And that's just purely down to convenience and where we're at as humans, particularly in Western civilization. But ancestrally and naturally, humans are meant to go for periods of time without food. You know, you think back to the caveman, he might go and hunt and forage for some foods. He'll eat that and he'll enjoy it and he'll reap the benefits. But then he might go a few days without food again while he's out there tracking animals or finding fruit and vegetables that he can forage and consume. So his body's naturally entering that autophagy process, and he's cannibalizing dead cells, and it's just really good at helping your body recover from different illnesses. It helps you reset your gut. It's good for your microbiome, your gut health. It'll improve your digestion, circulation. You'll see mental benefits again, but purely for as a recovery point of view, which is what this episode's about, is the autophagy and the removal of those dead cells and free radicals from your system, and you'll see massive benefits, reduction in inflammation. Yeah, so that's it, Simon. I felt that it was really important just to mention that.
Yeah, the one weird thing I know about autophagy, the one random thing, like the word autophagy, it's Greek. It's a Greek word for self-eating, and that's what it's doing. It's your body eating itself, essentially. And just to put it really simply, it's just basically your body repairing. It sort of goes into repair mode, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I should, I don't want to go too much into this, Sam, but as a person of faith, as a Christian man, I think that it's amazing, and the human body is such a complex and clever organism, and that to me is, it's intelligent design that the body does that. It's a natural process that the body does to protect itself, to repair itself. It's absolutely wonderful. And just finally on fasting, Sam, I just wanted to tell people, if they've not fasted before, be very cautious. If it's not something that you're used to, it's not something you've done before. Again, maybe start out with intermittent fasting. Do your own research on it, and if you're not confident, wait for a future episode where we'll focus specifically on fasting and talk about that. But I'll draw a line under it there, Sam. I don't want to go on. I don't want to rabbit on too long about fasting. Sam, I think we've covered the 3 key things for me there in terms of recovery and the routines, regimes, and rituals that can really set you on the straight and narrow there and help you with your recovery and help you thrive. Is there anything else that we just need to mention? We don't need to speak in any detail about, but just mention that there are other options. And
when you think about recovery, there's 101 things that you could do. We've mentioned the 3 things there. One of the other things that immediately comes to mind for me is sauna and steam. The heat. I know we've spoke about the cold, but the heat is a magnificent thing in itself. And it's no like groundbreaking thing that heat and cold is a very good recovery tool nowadays. If you've got that cold water and you've got access to get straight in a sauna after it and go from one to the other, absolutely amazing. The sauna is one of the best things you can do. Just a quick, why is that? It's basically, if you've done a workout, you want to recover your muscles. As soon as you get in the sauna, oh Christ, I can't remember the term for it now. Completely gone. But anyway, it sort of is it called heat shock proteins? I think it's something like that.
Yeah.
They're activated in your body to help your muscles grow and recover. Yeah, we got there in the end. So that's why there's so many sauna and steam and cold water facilities popping up nowadays, because there is science behind it.
Yeah, A lot of the top athletes are, we spoke about cold water, but a lot of the top athletes are doing both, aren't they? Both hot and cold therapy. And like pretty much everything else we've spoken about, improves circulation, relaxes the muscles, reduces stress, all helps towards improved recovery. Sam, another thing that is important to mention is massage. Obviously, there's various different types of massage: deep tissue, Thai massage, aromatherapy massage, and they're the types of massage we're talking about for recovery. We're not talking about the type of massage that Sam received in Tunisia several years ago.
No, then.
So yeah, obviously, massage is another thing to consider. Now, the reason we're not going into too much detail on sauna, steam, and massage is purely down to accessibility and what's realistic for most people. We've focused on sleep because it's the numero uno, as I keep saying, it's the most important. But we've also spoken about cold water and grounding purely and simply because they will have the most profound impact on your recovery, and also they are accessible. Anyone, wherever you are in the world, can access grounding and cold water. Thoughts on that, Sam? Do
definitely.
you agree?
It's as simple as that, innit? Wherever unless you live in the desert, of course. But otherwise, you can get in that water, and if you can't get in the cold water, you can ground. Everyone's on the ground, literally.
Now we will get some clever. We will get some clever dick on who says, "Oh well, such a people can't access cold water, or such a people can't get great." Don't be pedantic.
Yeah.
Don't take everything we say as literal. But we're talking to our audience here. We're talking to people who are tuning into the podcast. Everyone has access to these things, in some way, shape, or form. So that's why we've focused on these three essential components of recovery.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, if you do them three simple things, you're on to a winner. I think so. I think we should just say what me and you, what we're gonna do in terms of recovery, what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm just gonna continue with what I've already been doing because it works for me. The cold water, I know I keep rabbiting on about it, but I will because it's just phenomenal. I'm gonna wake up every morning. I'm gonna get in that cold water shower every training session. Even more so now when I'm like double time. I'm gonna be getting that cold water. Even after getting out of an open water swim, which is cold, I'm still gonna get in that cold water because it's doing me a world of good for the recovery. And I do have access to a sauna, so I'm gonna do that, and we've spoke about the sleep, so yeah.
Brilliant, Sam. Brilliant, and we'll follow up on that like we have with the things we spoke about last week, and we'll keep each other honest and accountable, and make sure that we're both making the progress that we need to, that we're both thriving. For me personally, again, it's just a little bit more consistency. I do tend to ground every single day, but if I can get connected with the earth even more, then I will do. 30 minutes a day. It's easier when the weather's nicer. Obviously, cold water. Again, I do tend to at least start or finish cold with a shower. Can I increase the duration that I'm exposed to cold water? Can I get out while swimming more? Absolutely, and I intend to do so. Sam, you recently had a cold water dip not far from my house. So the sea, the beach and the sea is really accessible for me. It's a short drive away, and it's a really nice part of the country to do that. So I'm going to take advantage of that. And yeah, like you said, we've already covered sleep, so brilliant. As we're sort of coming to a natural end of the episode, Sam, I thought it was good fun last week. It provided a little bit of entertainment from what I can gather, and I certainly enjoyed it. What are you getting rid of? What are you banning? Something that's a barrier, that's a blocker to recovery for the general population. What are you throwing in room 101, so to speak?
For recovery specific, that's tricky, that, because we don't want to take anything away from recovery, do we? We want to recover. Can I say vapes again? You know, people are smoking their vapes. I've seen them coming out of the gym. We want to snatch it out of their hands.
Yeah, stupid. Stupid.
What am I banning?
Harsh penalties for people who vape. Listen, if you listen to this podcast and you vape, you're not welcome. Don't listen. Don't tune in.
Or just try and reduce your vape.
No, joking aside, Luke, we've all got things that we need to remove from our lives. But if you do vape, then you are seriously numb. So stop immediately.
So that's going in room 101 again. For the second time.
Right, interesting. I suppose we can tie it into recovery in the sense that it probably affects your circulation, which will have an impact on recovery and the delivery of oxygen to the muscles. So we'll let you off of it this week, Sam. I'm not sure you'll get away with it every week, but
oh, brilliant! Right, mate. So we got to sort of it's a conclusion now. So what we're saying about the key takeaways from this episode for the viewers, what we're telling them.
Key takeaways, Sam, from this recovery episode for me, to get people on the right path to make improvements, however small they may be, so they can start thriving, is obviously, we spoke about sleep. Really be conscious about your sleep, and about the quality of your sleep and your sleep hygiene. One thing I would just say, that the quick, easy win is set yourself a cut-off point for your television and your mobile phone. Put it down, and clear your mind before you go to bed. Reduce that blue light. That's the key one for sleep. For cold water, I'd say exactly what you've already said, Sam. Just turn that shower cold at the end of it, and stay under it as long as you possibly can, and take it from there. In terms of grounding, no excuses. In the morning before you go to work, on your lunch break, whenever you have the opportunity to do so, get outside. If you've not as fortunate as some people, and you don't have a nice garden or a lawn area that you can use at home, just get down to a park, get down to your nearest beach, get out in a woodland, anywhere where is relatively clean, and you're not at risk of any sort of injury. Be sensible, don't be stupid, but get outside and get connected to the earth if you can. That might include a cold water swim with your friends. Go out to the sea, to a local river. Always, obviously, I should put a disclaimer in there. Just be careful. Let common sense apply. Look after yourselves. Look after each other. And just be safe. But they're the three takeaways for me personally, Sam, that I'd advise the listeners to implement into their lives and into their routines. What about you?
I completely concur with what you said there. Get the best sleep you can. I'd say try the little meditations before you go to sleep. Get your room as dark as possible. The cold water, please try it. Please try it. Just ease yourself in. You don't have to go and throw yourself in. Go and take yourself off to Iceland and throw yourself in the lagoon. And yeah, grounding. Like Tommy said, if you live in a high-rise flat or an apartment, get yourself outside. I think grounding mats exist now, don't they? Where you sort of plug them in and earth yourself. That's a big thing.
You can get bed sheets that are grounded. That you can get mats that go under your desk at work. There's all sorts of things available.
But yeah, that's my 3. But I will say, like you said about the how can folk get in touch? So we have got the Instagram, which I think is probably the biggest thing and the easiest place to get in touch. That is just at Thrive Talking with no G on the end. And we do have an email address, which is thrivetalkingpodcast@gmail.com. All emails welcome. Just if you want to mention something, if you want to tell us something, if you have an opinion, we could mention it on the podcast. We will get people involved, and if they want to have a say, we'll say it on the podcast, won't we? We're not scared of anyone's opinions.
Absolutely, Sam. Sorry, I just wanted to chime in there and say I'm assuming that you're going to put the links in and the email address in the description for each episode on Spotify and the different platforms, just so people know exactly how to reach us. But yeah, I just wanted to reiterate what you've said there, Sam, and really encourage people to get in touch and join us on our journey to greatness and making men great again. And of course, I should mention that it would be nice if you could leave us a 5-star review. They've already been rolling in, which has been great. So thank you everyone for your support so far. Me and Sam are brand new to this. We're only 2 episodes in. This is the 3rd. But we're humbled by the support and the kindness that you've shown so far, and we're really happy to have you, the brethren, the brotherhood of man, on this journey with us, and we're excited to continue bringing you this content and creating a community that we can all thrive in together. And thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in.
Thanks very much. Them 5-star reviews really do help, because they do push the podcast within the algorithm of the world, the platforms. It pushes it to other people who normally probably wouldn't listen. So yeah, thank you very much. So yeah, thanks everyone. You've been listening to Thrive Talking, the Making Men Great Again podcast. And until next time, goodbye from me. And
goodbye from me.
You got it. See you later.
Take care. All the best.